Hello and welcome to Aspects of Writing. I'm your host, James Kelly. My co-host for today's show is Tonya Todd. And our guests are Jade and Wilnona Marie. And the topic of the show is brand expansion. Tonya, please tell us a little bit of who you are.
My name is Tonya Todd. I'm an author and actress, and I'm the education chair for the Henderson Writers Group.
All right. That was short and sweet. And our first guest is Wilnona Marie. And Wilnona, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm one of the Andi thought ladies. There's 15 of us that write, 5 of us that are part of the public faces, and I'm the narcissist of the group. So when you said, tell me about me, I was like, what do I say? Where do I start? Anyway, I've written 7 books before we started the Andi Thought series. I had a 3-book publishing contract with a New York publisher, and I'm hoping to get a new publishing contract, hopefully, if everything goes right.
Okay. And where are you from?
I'm from Annapolis, Maryland. Yes, no one knows where that is. It's where the Naval Academy is. It's 30 miles south of Baltimore, 30 miles east of Washington, D.C.
Okay. And just so our listeners know, this is an impromptu interview. Tonya actually met you at a convention. What was the convention you were at?
It's the Experienced Writers Retreat.
Okay, Experienced Writers Retreat. And that's how you met up, and she called me and said, can we do a show? All right, and so you grew up there. What was that like?
Annapolis is a Navy town that happens to have ice cream, but it mostly has bars.
That sounds interesting. All right. And Tonya, I'm going to let you introduce our next guest.
Okay, our second guest is Jade D. Jade, what can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I guess I'm the not narcissist of the group. So I'm an anti-thought ladies. I've been writing for about 2.5 years. Wilnona is my best friend in the whole world.
Aw, that's
and
nice.
she dragged me into this, kicking and screaming. So here I am.
But you're leaving out some important parts. I'm learning as we go along here. We spoke a little bit before we went on the air. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing. What is it that you do?
Jay, do you want us to do the whole list, or you want to take half?
I'm trying to figure it out because I'm putting on the different hats right now as we're talking.
That's why you have hat hair, huh?
Thanks, Wilnona. Thank you. Love the shade. Love it. So we actually are poets. So we write.
We write literary life guides that are of pop poetry, which pop poetry means it's not poetry you have to guess about, you get. We also have... Can I do the list? Do I have permission?
Do the list. Wilnona. Do the list. Doing the list, y'all.
Anyway, we have a podcast, Roku TV show, radio online, an actual TV show in California on network television, and then we have an Amazon show, which is in the U.S. and the UK. We write books. We are the editors of 2 magazines, one of them being the 25 Hottest and the other one being the Thoughtful Literary Magazine, and we do workshops and we speak and co-host conferences. We're also the co-founders of the Inspirational Women in Literature, Media, and Journalism Conference, and for the first time ever, we did a writers' retreat. Guess where? In Vegas, like yesterday.
All right.
I missed something, but I'm going to let it go.
Well, let's start with one thing at a time. What got you into doing the magazine?
So Wilnona, she is a narcissist, but then we were driving down the highway, and she's like, I want to know who the hottest authors are right now.
Because I'm cute.
Because she's like, I'm cute, and there's no reason why my pretty face can't be in a magazine of the hottest authors right now. So she Googled it, and they were like, F. Scott Fitzgerald, and she was like, I think I'm better looking than him because he's dust right now. So I'm just saying I could maybe get on this list. And then we started to recognize that they just listed all these authors that are wonderful, but they're dead.
So just to be clear, when you say hottest, what do you mean by hot?
Oh, yes, I was about to explain it. I promise. And then we thought about it, like, we are beautiful, or whatever we want to think ourselves are. But really, we want to talk about hot as in people that are trailblazing.
Okay.
Because as being an indie author, you have to think outside the box. But we're also talking about advocates that people are doing these wonderful things in the community and nobody knows who they are.
So it's really a compilation of everything they do. It's not just how they look. It's about where they are with their books, how they're out there promoting themselves, and what they're doing for the community.
Yes. And so it really has nothing to do with how they look. I mean, Wilnona might have started that as a joke, but
Well,
really,
I'm looking at the cover of this magazine. Are you sure?
Yeah, that's what I said too.
Dr. Noah Charney is pretty.
He's pretty hot.
gorgeous.
But huge trailblazer. He put together the first crime theft art thing with 3 countries, including France and the United States and everything. And he did it as a thesis paper in college.
Okay.
And so now they do it every year. And so he speaks literally around the world. And he writes for HBO and got nominated for a Pulitzer last year. So yeah, he's hot. But yeah, so like, you got to put that dude on the cover. Are you joking?
When you started this magazine, who did you approach to help you with it?
I figured it out myself.
We approached the internet. We said, okay, Google.
Okay, Google.
So who prints it for you then?
MagCloud.
Who?
MagCloud. Okay, so it's funny because all
How do
these
you
people
spell
have
that?
online magazines, right? And they go, we can never have a print copy. And I'm like, y'all, you have a choice between Peecho, Peecho, which is a European brand, and something called MagCloud. No cost to you.
Oh, wow.
Upload, hit print, they ship it to you.
So you have to pay for the printing.
You have to pay for the it's print on demand like Amazon. So when you
Right.
get your books, you pay for them. So voila, I now have a printed magazine.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Well, because I want to start one, so I'm gonna call you up and say, what'd you guys do?
Oh, by the way, there's templates, so you can just get 7-page templates
Oh my
and then
gosh.
copy and paste,
Wow.
and you're done.
See, there's a reason you showed up today.
There it is. There it is. And
I'm sure there's more than one. But all right, so we have the magazine. So now what else? The books. I'm interested in, how did you start? Where did you come up with the books? Is it poetry, all poetry, or are there novels? Or?
they're super literary, so that's why they're literary life guides. It's essays, short stories, and poetry.
Okay.
So how did we come up with it? I get to tell the
Jade, go
story
ahead. I'm gonna be
because
humble.
I'm the one.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
the one. So Wilnona is a genre writer. She writes genre. It's really great. But it's one day we were driving down Route 50, and I know you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but we were going to the Eastern Shore. So we're coming from going from Annapolis to go basically to Ocean City. So we're
The Atlantic Ocean.
The Atlantic Ocean. So we're driving down this road, and I said, you should return to writing poetry. You're good at it. You should do it. And she said, why do you want me to be poor for the rest of my life? I want to make money. I mean, genre is where you make money. And I said, well, you should write poetry. You're so beautiful. You do it so well. And then she looks at me because she thinks that she thought she was being really intelligent and says, well, what would I even call this book? And I said, and I thought divorce was bad. She was, darn it, now I got to write it.
So you write dramatic, or do you write science fiction, or do you write
What genre do I
Yeah.
write? I write a crime, family, mystery, thriller sort of thing. So it's not really mystery per se. The biggest part of mystery might be imagine Game of Thrones and someone gets kidnapped almost every book.
Okay.
Yeah, and you still have to, and the families have to figure out who they're going to unify with and make alliances with to get that person back on the board to not go to war or to go to war. So, yeah, that sort of thing. That's what I write. And I've written 26 novels, and I started writing with them when I was 14 years old, and it's been a while.
Okay.
Not too long.
Not
Yeah,
too
yeah,
long.
yeah,
I wrote
yeah.
20 of those novels in 1 year.
Wow. Okay.
Well, you should hear the amount of poetry I wrote for her. She was like, since my best friend said go write poetry, I wrote 64 poems in a week.
Wow. I actually had an author on, P.S. Wynn, who she had a goal to, yours is far greater than hers, but she had a goal to do 50 novels in 5 years, and she did 55, I think it was. So, and it's interesting, there's an actual name for it. I can't remember what it is now, when someone does that, when you're that creative. To
Drunk.
No. There's a
And if you're in Denver, Colorado, or in Colorado in general, there's a whole nother name, but we're not going to discuss that because we're in Vegas.
But yeah, there is an actual term for that when you're that creative. And I kind of do that as well. I dream a lot of my work, and I'll have 2 or 3 different dreams a week that I'll get up and write down and have a complete outline for a whole book, which I haven't finished yet because I'm not. I don't have the time to go and sit down and write everything. I can't believe what you ladies do. I don't know how you do it. But anyway, let's get back to the books. So what are you doing with the books? How are you promoting your books? Because we're here talking about brand expansion. And this is important. And we're going to get into a few things here. I hope I don't forget, because you talked to me about a lot of stuff before we went on the air. So what are you doing to promote your books?
I'd like to take this one.
Of course.
yes, you can take this one. I'm trying to do it in like seven steps. It's not going to work. But anyway, so what we originally did was we have a book, and I was like, do what everyone says and press print, and there you go. And this is my first time writing with other people, and they were like, that's all we need to do. And I'm like, no, not if you want something to happen with it. And the first thing that happened was someone that I wrote with told me this book will never go anywhere, and you'll never see your press tour. So I went out and I sent out 6,000 pitch letters.
Where did you send them to?
Oh, I found the emails for producers on like Ellen and like all these
Everywhere.
places. Good Morning America, Today,
Wow.
London, England, you name it. I found like everyone. So I sent out about 6,000 of those bad boys. And we did 200 and some interviews in 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, aren't you guys on the list of 20 most interviewed authors?
So we've been told.
Yeah.
Someone
We haven't
called
verified.
Well,
it.
that sounds like it might
So
be pretty accurate.
This
so.
is number 585, actually.
My goodness gracious.
In
Wow.
2.5 years. But anyway, that's where we started. And then I was like, this is not good enough. I'm not getting there fast enough. And so I was like, what do you do when you write a book? And I was like, when you write a book, what do you want to do? Oh, podcast. So let's interview people. Great. And then as I was podcasting, I was like, yeah, not working. This is only audio. We need to figure, YouTube, that works. And then someone else had a Roku. And I was like, I want to be on your Roku TV show. And then I was like, wait.
Well,
I
explain
should
to
look
people
that
what
up.
Roku is.
Right. So, boom.
Roku is, it's a streaming.
Yeah, it's a streaming, and we're on Roku as well.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. I saw that.
We're on-
I was like,
Yeah.
he
Roku?
can explain that one.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, for me, I put mine on YouTube. They take it from YouTube, and then the network, amfm247.com, takes and puts it on their network, which is a network on Roku TV. So we are broadcast under several of the other interviewers from AMFM 24/7 on Roku TV, and you can have your own channel on Roku TV.
We have our own channel,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I'm not that smart. I couldn't figure it out. So
No, this little thing and explains it. Go, Jade.
we said, okay, Google. Let's
and see, I like you already because I Google constantly. So I like that.
Well, I mean, what used to be a saying, anything you wanted to know is in a book. Well, anything you want to know is on the internet. So
Yeah, that's true.
Same principle. If you want to know it and you want to work toward it, I mean, you have to dedicate time, which some of us really don't have, but
Yeah.
we do. So we dedicated time.
I think the older I get, the harder it is for me to spend time doing all those things because I have to do a lot of research for my shows too, which is very unusual, by the way, because usually I like to know something about the people I'm interviewing, and I do a lot of research. I had no time to research you at all. In fact, I didn't even know your names until you showed up here today.
Thank you for trusting me on that.
I know, and thank you, Tonya, because this is great. All right, so now you're on Roku TV, but what is this you have going with Amazon?
Oh, I was going to finish the story, but okay.
Oh, no,
I'll
finish
jump
this.
ahead.
No, finish the story. Yeah, I
No.
want to hear it.
Jump. Okay, Jade is saying jump. Leap of faith, you guys. Anyway, yeah. So the Amazon thing is I'm going to take one step back. The quick story was we ended up with managers. So we had 4 of those bad boys. Anyway, one of them is in California. She's been in film for 25 years. And I called her up one day and said, I want my own TV show. And she said, sure. And I thought she would call me back in 2 years. And I called her at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. She called me back at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was like, we have 3 markets for you. You have to produce 6 shows. You have to produce 6 shows in 30 days in order to keep your 6 o'clock time slot.
Wow.
So yeah, we did that, and then I was like, well, California is nice, but I want bigger. I wanted Netflix, so I said, okay, Google, and Google said, yeah, not yet.
So Google back. Yeah.
Yeah, Google pretty much talked back to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so but Amazon has the script thing where back in the day you could submit.
Okay.
And so I was like, let's see if they have one for TV shows. And boom, there it was. This huge article about like Amazon was looking for new TV shows. And I said, well, it's already formatted. It's already produced. It's already the right length.
Mm-hmm.
Let's send it in. And 2 weeks later, I always remember this because I broke my tooth, found out I made honor roll in college, and I was crying over the tooth more than I was about the honor roll. And then I get this email, and it's like, Amazon's like, we have accepted your entire season.
Oh, wow.
And I went,
Great.
Oh, yeah, never mind. Forget tooth and honor roll. Who the heck cares?
Right. Yeah. Hooray for Amazon.
Hooray for Amazon.
So you have a show on Amazon.
Yes.
It's out there now.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
called Just Right in Life.
Season 1 and Season 2.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. And so what's the future for that show?
finishing season 2.
Yeah, pretty much.
Actually, we just saw the season finale. You're in this. This is we in the season finale. Actually.
Oh my goodness gracious.
So yeah, you saw that pause, right? We were like, well, I guess we're just gonna do some more Just Right in Life, because we want everyone to know that we are authors, but it's not as boring as people think.
No, it can be fun. Yes.
Can I do a short backstory on that? I swear it'll be like 5 sentences.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. Short backstory on this. We do the Inspiration Women in Literature, Media, and Journalism Conference. Someone came in from California, and they were like, Hollywood doesn't do any shows with authors because they're boring. And I was like,
I'm not boring.
I'm not boring. And I thought I was okay with that. And 2 weeks later, I was still pissed. And that's why I called my manager. And I was like, I want to do a reality TV show and show everyone that writers aren't boring. And then when she called me back, I was like, shoot, I should have prepared for that.
Yeah.
So there we go. So we have a reality TV show. I'm sorry. It's
Docuseries.
Docuseries.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So that's good. And do you interview authors on your show?
Yes.
That's what our podcast is for.
But also, if we are out and about and we're going to like book fairs or something, we will interview some authors and put them on there. Because, I mean, we're indie authors. We know that everyone
you know what
needs.
it's like. All right. So what is your podcast?
It's called And I Thought, but we call it The Woman's Cave. And I wish we had bought our flask. So we have like a whole line of marketing stuff, flask, clothes, and all that. And it has The Woman's Cave on it, and it has little lips. And it says hashtag we write again.
Oh,
The ladies write again.
All right. All right. We have not talked anything about your parents. Silence. All of a sudden there's silence. No. What does your family think about all this?
My dad is actually here in Vegas with me, and he's super proud. And he's super proud of Wilnona. Cool. I mean, our parents are just proud that they say, do what you can and work hard at it. So here we are doing what we can and working hard at it.
Were they ever in this? Did they have any kind of background in journalism or anything like that?
No, my dad is a poet though.
Okay.
So was mine.
So
and it was I just said that word
You did.
I'll edit it out.
Thank you. So
no, I won't.
My mother actually lies the media tells you. So my mother, she was very supportive. When I was 10 years old, I decided I wanted to be a writer instead of that neurosurgeon I said I'd be at 7. And so she said, okay. And she got me my first editor. And that editor stayed with me until she retired. So, voila. But they were very supportive. And she died a week before we started our first literal on-the-road LA tour.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So she just had I talked to her at 11 o'clock. She had a heart attack and she was dead by 1. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was weird. But
now you just brought us down. We got to bring it back up again. Okay.
I was about to say that. I was about to say.
I was about to come back with something snarky, and I was like, "How do you do snarky from death?"
I know exactly.
Oh, it can be done.
Tonya, it's all you now.
Take it away.
No pressure.
Tonya, you have any questions for him about the shows or anything?
I think you should talk about the performance art that you're going to start doing with reading the poetry on YouTube.
So, quick thing, you guys. Wilnona is one of the best poetry readers. She doesn't do it often, but she's so good. And yes, I'm her hype person, so I can say that.
And I'm not her hype person, and I've seen it firsthand, and it's amazing.
And so what was this conference you just did? Is that what you did at the conference, was readings?
We actually did a conference where I wanted to introduce writers to our network. And you see how nice and easily I just moved away from poetry. And I was like, and skip
She's
that.
all slide.
Yeah, sidestep. Anyway, so we came up with this idea that, because everyone's like, oh, I love your network, I love your network, I love your network. And I was thinking, I want to give indie authors as much opportunity as there can be to meet new people. So, like, the high point, I feel, of that whole thing was, first of all, it was intimate. So it was only going to be 14 students. And we did it in Vegas to get everyone out here. And we called it the Experienced Writers Workshop, because where else can you find people who experience a wide range of emotions on one street? And just observe it all and talk to them and then write it down. And so we brought in, like, our New York Times bestselling author couldn't come because she had surgery. But we brought in, like, our USA Today bestselling author, one of them, and one of the authors who sold, like, 1.5 million books. And they taught a class and sat down and they talked to each student. And our favorite editor, He was mentored by a Pulitzer Prize winner, and he talked to people. And then the next day, we practiced everything that we did, that we talked about on the first day.
Wow.
And then you got to pitch a movie producer from Hollywood, one of our really good friends. We love you, Tegan.
You're the best. And I thought it was really awesome because we really wanted to do it small. So you can ask the questions that when you're in a group of like 500 people, you're like, oh, maybe that's not a good question. Or you won't get called on, or you feel weird. So we wanted people to have a small group so you can feel like, hey, I can approach this person because they're just right there across the table from me.
Yeah.
So they got to ask all their questions. And in fact, we did interviews. We did mock interviews with Bruce. Thank you, Bruce, for coming out. And he told people, okay, well, this is what you should take out, and this is what you should put in, and you want to think about this. And then Tegan was talking about the log line. So when you're writing your script or you're trying to get someone interested in your script, your log line, she prefers 27 words. She was like, you just need to be very clear on what you are. And a log line is really a goal, which, I mean, I guess you could Google that all day, but you might not get it in such a way that it had the emphasis like, please be clear on your message, so then the producer can accept it or not accept it because they can imagine it or not.
So then you got to go into like a little room, and then you got to read your log line to her and tell them about what you wanted to do. So
And she can correct you.
And then we also had a publisher
that's
there,
neat.
traditional and hybrid.
Yeah.
And she listened to book pitches.
Oh, wow. So how did you get involved with this, Tonya?
They actually interviewed me for their podcast.
Ah. But how did you learn about Tonya?
Okay, Google. Literally, what happened was someone, I was thinking, what about if we just included more people from Vegas?
Okay.
And she's everywhere in every writers association and everything. I was like, really?
We were like,
there
who
she
is
again?
who
There
is
she
this-
is again.
who is this Tonya Todd? We feel like we need to know her.
And when we found our website, I was like, yeah, we're going to definitely email the interview.
Yeah, we need to definitely know her.
Well, that's cool. That's really great. All right. So now we have the magazine, we have the podcast, we have Amazon, and we have your books. What else are you doing?
We also have conferences, and I kind of say from our first bio thing, we missed we co-hosted conferences on 3 continents. Thank you, Jade.
I love you.
How did I do that?
we want you to definitely talk into the mic.
Yeah. So we co-hosted conferences last year on 3 continents. That was fun. But we also have our own conferences.
And
as
you're
well.
getting ready to go out on the road again.
Yeah, we could do a European tour every year.
So
Okay.
that will be in July of 2019 is when the European tour starts. But let's see. I think we're home for a couple of months, which is amazing.
We're home for 6 weeks.
I'm going to get to see my cat. It's going to be nice. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
So then in 2020, we're going to take aspects of writing on the road.
Absolutely. Absolutely. in
2019.
We're not even sure if the ladies are going to want to go on a road again in 2020. I'm joking.
Yeah, we'll probably just be like, oh, man, that wedding thing was fun, but can we do it from our house?
Because we've been on the road for 2.5 years. So literally every 2 weeks we got on a plane. And we've had at max 10 weeks off altogether for 2 years. That's it.
I want to know about the 2019 conference that you're doing in Europe.
It's not a conference. It's a PR tour.
Okay,
So the
our PR
conference,
tour then.
we are going to go to a conference, and it's the UK Indie Lit Fest, which is part of the thing that we do in England when we go. So that's going to be exciting. And it's all about indie authors, and it's really cool because you get to go across the pond.
Yes.
And who doesn't want to go across the pond?
Hmm?
And then like go across another pond and go to Greece? Who doesn't want to do that?
Oh my goodness, that sounds great.
And we got invited to Lake Como in Italy, so we might do that.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And we were
for it.
thinking about
So it's
taking
already
people with us.
expanding from 1 week to.
No, it's all in 1 week. We always do this in
Oh,
all in
wow.
1 week. Yeah. We're only in
Wow.
every place like 72 hours.
Oh my goodness. Oh. So you don't get to see too much then.
She's a taskmaster.
Mm.
I give them 24 hours off total.
And she's like, that's enough time. Yep. No
8
sleep
hours
for you.
per each city. There you go.
Well, does your dad travel? You had mentioned Jade. that.
Actually, no. He's normally just like, I'm going to stay home and enjoy my life. I'm retired.
Uh-huh.
And then he was like, oh, you're going to Vegas? I'm coming.
Okay.
It's the one trip every 6 months. They're like, yeah, we'll be there. I'm like, really? Jade's husband comes normally, but he stayed home this time. And her dad comes every time.
Oh, so you had a chaperone.
I had a chaperone.
Yeah, your
What
dad
show?
came.
Oh no. My dad was like, whatever. I'm just kicking it in the room, and he actually said kicking it.
All right. So you just said something I didn't know. You're married.
Yes,
Okay.
and pretty soon it'll be 8
Wilnona?
years.
And I thought divorce was bad. It was then because I am happily divorced.
And you look like young kids to me, so I don't even think of you as being old enough to even be married. I thought maybe we just got out of college or something.
No, I'm
I'm still
sure.
in college.
Yeah, she is still in college.
Oh,
and
okay.
That's how I knew it wasn't the 14th today because I was like, I have tests to take. They got to be in.
Okay.
I'm only 23, so I just
And
got
holding.
married young.
Oh, okay.
I just got married super young and holding. I'm 23 and holding.
At this point, your parents had to sign papers to get me.
Yo, at this point, right? Right, it's true. It's not true.
But
You're
we're still
supposed-
claiming 23
You're
and holding.
supposed to lie up so that you look fantastic for your age rather than like you're clinging to your age.
There you go.
Oh,
So-
okay.
So
Well,
she's
then
trying
that,
to tell us we're desperate.
in
Thank
that,
you, Tonya.
No.
in that case, I'm 55, and I love my senior discount.
Wow.
You look so good. All right. So where are you going from here? Where are you going from Las Vegas? Back home?
I'm going home.
We're going
Going
home.
home?
And for 6 weeks, and then we head out to Florida.
Where do you film the show? I'm just curious. Where are you filming your show? Back home?
Home. Well, we're on the road we're on the road a lot, so we film it on the road. I mean, if you guys want to see me be a wife, and that's boring. That's my boring part of my life.
Yeah.
You don't need to see that part.
Sure. So it's home. When we do readings or go out for speaking.
So
film
it's kind of
that.
funny, like when she's saying that with the readings and speaking, you're like, what are we doing next? So we land at home at 12:30, get dressed, and we prepare for a reading at 6 o'clock.
Oh.
So I have an obsession with coffee for a reason.
Yeah, I know. We had to have that coffee for you when,
Yes.
when you got here.
Oh my goodness! I made my coffee face. I was like, coffee.
It didn't take much for me to say, would you like coffee? Yes.
Yes. And he was like, what kind? I was like, coffee. Does it have caffeine? I want it.
I'm always mad with her because she's drinking coffee and I'm allergic to caffeine. So I have to wake up nice and slow. And I'm like, they're like, at 6 a.m. you have to be at the studio. And I'm like, what?
I'm not sure you need any additional energy.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking,
Thank you, Tonya.
Coffee would just send you right over the moon there. So. All right, so Tonya, what were you expecting when you met these two?
Well, I was expecting something more conventional, and it was no. I wasn't disappointed at all.
Okay,
though.
all right.
I
But
go to
they have a lot of
conferences.
energy.
They have a
They
lot
have
of
a
energy,
lot of
and
energy.
their writing retreat was really intimate, and it felt like a safe environment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what they were referencing earlier is that you could ask a question without that. I'm going to ask something that might seem stupid to the 400 other people here because they know this already,
Yeah.
but I'm here to learn, so I need to ask this question.
Right. And you didn't feel uncomfortable asking the questions.
Not a single thing.
Yeah, that's good.
And we're there with a movie producer and not feeling intimidated to ask questions.
wow.
And a television producer for 4 TV shows in the Las Vegas area.
So they knew how you are and what you
Yes.
expected before they even showed up on the scene.
Well, I think that our speakers did know.
They know
And
us.
They know us, and they know that we are not the most professional people in the world. We do try to be, but it doesn't work out ever. We're going to put on our professional
But what
face.
is professional, though? I mean, really?
Like,
you know?
hello, my name is Jade, and I have written 10 books.
Well,
And I'm
yeah.
actually going to do the 7 steps of brand expansion. We've actually
In order.
In order. We've actually covered 6 of them. So there you go.
Yeah.
Unprofessionally, though.
I want to ask you, in your definition, what is brand expansion?
It is, when we are writers and we're authors, we think, okay, we have this book. And so I'm going to sell this book. I'm going to go and have interviews. And I'm not saying that like a video thing with writers is a video is not a bad thing. But you're like, I'm just going to go on all the writing circuits and I'm going to talk about my book. That's fantastic. But don't you want to go out and talk about other things so you can take aspects of your book? Like we took the aspect of our book where we had a couple of people that wrote about emotional abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
In their poetry. And so we're very passionate about that. Please stop that. So we went about talking about it, not just on the writing platforms, but on other platforms like television and stuff. And we weren't really talking about our book. We were talking about something that was in our book, but it was still very important. So you have to think about yourself as, yes, I'm an author, but then what are my aspects of my book? Like when Tonya said that she was writing her heroine as a biracial woman, well, that's something that everybody wants to talk about. Lots of people can identify with that. And that, when you connect with those people, that's how you get to sell your book and expand your brand.
So you're
Can I say
saying,
that-
go ahead. No, go
I
ahead.
just want to say it in one sentence. And
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
hoping, I'm hoping
She's giving you the
Log line, log line.
I didn't do my log line, people.
No, you did a good job, though. I was so proud of you. I almost want to high five you, but it's not my podcast. So, what I wanted to say, I was thinking in this one sentence. It's not what you wrote as art. It's where it fits into society. That's brand expansion. If you can't figure out how it's relevant to society today, then probably just stick with the writing crowd.
But you guys, I don't know how did this come about for you? I mean, how did one thing lead into the other, into the other, into the other? Because
Someone said my crazy brain.
okay.
Because I have a Wilnona, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It is
She
beautiful.
dreams.
So it's the Wilnona syndrome?
Yeah,
is that what it is?
she dreams so big, and then I just do all the details.
And that's what I like about you already, is that I believe in dreamers. I really do. And my saying is, if you can dream it, you can write it. And it's the same thing in life. If you can dream it, you can do it. And you just have to want to dream. Dream big. There's nothing wrong with dreaming big.
I want to add one thing there.
Sure.
Don't hit me, Jade.
Okay, I'll drink my coffee.
Thank you. So,
We'll edit it out, don't worry.
I made a lot.
Real quick, I want to say that my dreams expanded just from knowing them.
Oh, wow. That's so
that
nice.
my own glass ceiling that I put there on
Yeah.
myself, it's further away now.
Listen, they've given me energy right now.
See, now I'm like, I'm excited that we are ourselves then. Yay, authenticness.
Yes.
Oh, the sentence.
Yes.
Right. Not the poetry. My
Well, let's
mind
get
went,
back to
read
that.
the poetry. And I was like, no, not that. The sentence is, I meet a lot of dreamers. So when you dream, can you achieve it?
Yeah, that's
Please
the
ask.
thing.
And don't, when you say, can you achieve it, don't go, I will never be able. No, I say, get out a piece of paper, write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, literally write it down and then say, step 1 is, and then don't worry about what goes in between. Go, step 1 is this. Like when I did I'm going to do the Inspiration Women Literature Conference. I want to do that. I want it to be like an award show. Step 1 is, let's find a good name. Step 2 is, let's find a venue. Step 3 is, who's going to speak? Step 4 is, where does this all fit into my budget? And then when I've answered those 4 things, we made the Inspiration Women in Literature, Media, and Journalism Conference. And then we had it at Sacramento State last year.
Yeah. And that's, I think, what people are afraid to do. We think of all these things we want to do, but we don't think about what steps do you need to take to achieve those things. And I think sometimes we overthink it. Like some people think, oh, that's going to be hard. How am I going to do that? Like you're talking about, you're interviewing these people from, agents. You're getting people from the publishing industry to come in, and that's pretty amazing in itself that you were able to put those people together for your do you call it a conference or what do you
It was
call
a writer's retreat.
a writer's retreat. That's amazing that you can do that.
I'm still confused about how that happened.
Well, I mean,
no, we emailed
Because I was
them.
about to ask you, how'd you make that?
I was going to say that we are really appreciative to the speakers that did come out. Like, we love them. And they apparently love us. So this is exciting. And really, we're just about helping each other. And we told the speakers, we said, listen, sit down in the class. Because we believe in our tagline, like at the end of our podcast, is wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
So sit down in the class. You might learn something and you might not, but who knows? And so everyone said, I learned something, which was great. I learned a lot of things.
So when we did that, when I wrote down all the people, actually, I'm not going to lie. When I did the steps for this one, this was the hardest one to do. It literally went to 7. I can normally do it in 4. And I was like, wait, this is step number 7. But I finished in 7. Yeah. If I had gone to number 8, then you just trash it.
Start over.
It's too much.
A new strategy.
Simplify. But anyway, when I made it to step 7, I was looking, I was like, well, why would anyone want to come to this? And I thought about who I was going to ask and what they were looking for at that time. And if that person connected with that person. And then I asked myself, did any of the other other writers that I've met along the way want the same information, and yeah, they did. So then there you go.
Ah,
That's how we made the
interesting.
speaker list.
That's how we made it. So every person there, when they got there, there was something that they actually wanted to hear or know in that room.
Well, because they knew in advance who was going to be there and what were you doing.
Yes. And then when I called them, I said, oh, by the way, I'm calling such and such. And she said yes. And I know that you want this for your people. So maybe you want to come out.
Ah.
And they went, yeah, sure.
I mean, they were going to come out anyway.
They had said that already. They
Yeah.
were like, yeah, that sounds great. It's Vegas. And then
That's
I was
the
like,
key,
and then
is
add
Vegas,
this.
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be there.
And I think that's really important, what you're talking about, how important it is to make sure you know who you're targeting. And especially you're sitting back home, halfway across, you're all the way across the United States, really, thinking about how you're going to do this. And how big is the town you're from?
Annapolis is a small town.
I know. That's what I'm thinking.
It's a cute small town between two big cities.
Is it like 10,000, 30,000?
No, I think it's like 50 or 60,000 people.
Yeah, that's about.
But that's like small because Baltimore and DC are like literally 30 minutes away.
Okay, so you're closer to bigger. Because I'm from a small town in Oklahoma, so same size actually. So you do wonder how are you sitting here thinking about what you're going to do, and basically what you're telling me is you can do this from anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, the internet exists for a reason. So you can do everything. You can do everything.
You might have to go past OK Google. You might have to actually type.
Yeah, you might. But to dream big, it doesn't cost anything. It's free. Free to
I
dream
love that.
big.
I'm going to use that quote.
I mean, it really is free. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, Wilnona pushes me to think
Please
past.
dream bigger.
Yeah, to please dream bigger, to think past my own self. But that's why we are good partners, and that's why we're in business. For
So
a
you
long
grew up
time.
as best friends?
This is my best friend. And she's always been the one that says, I think you can do that.
I think that's an alarm.
I think that's an alarm.
Do we have to evacuate?
Don't panic. Walk slowly. Well, so she's always been this way.
Yeah, she's always been the person. She is. I remember when she was like 7. No, wait, maybe she wasn't 7 because I think I was 7. Well, anyway, she was just slightly older than 7, and she told me, I'm going to get a Lamborghini. And I said, I don't even know what that is. And you know what that is, Wilnona? But you're going to get it. She's like, look at this car. And I'm looking at it. And I was like, do you not know where we live? I mean, we don't live in a bad neighborhood. We're a middle-class family, but that price tag
Lamborghini
looks,
is yeah.
I don't know if your mom
And
and dad
how
are going to
old
buy
was she?
that for you.
How
So
old was
she
that?
was slightly older than me. So what, 8, 9?
Yeah, no, I was 8.
8, 9?
So
And
like
you're thinking of a Lamborghini at
when
8?
I was 4, my mother explained to me, because she'd always explained to me about my mom owned a business, so she always explained about business and money, and then she started explaining when I was real little, you can buy this candy bar if you have more than this. So I knew the difference between a quarter and a dime by the time I was like 3.5.
Okay. Like the Tooth Fairy better not bring me a quarter. I want $1.
Exactly, pretty much, yeah. And they were like, "You want change or $1? I'll take the paper, please." They're like, most kids go for shiny things. No, this is more. So then she explained to me where a decimal point is, because I thought 999 always meant that it was $99.99, and then she explained decimal points when I was 4, and I went, "Oh my goodness, the world is different than I thought." And everything. From then on, I just thought about dreaming big, making money, and spending said money, and saving.
And
so
saving,
yeah.
yeah.
So when I was like 8 years old, I saw a Lamborghini, and I was like, so that equals how many pennies now? I can find pennies. So I started a savings account for
She
that. And no,
started
I did not
saving.
get that Lamborghini. I went to the Bahamas at 10 years old. I
There
paid for
you
it myself.
go. That's great, though.
But I gave up my Lamborghini.
That's worth more
So I
than
went
a
4
Lamborghini.
times, though.
But it was really cool because she's always been like, I'm going to have a Lamborghini, or I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I was like, are you sure? And she's like, I'm like, how you going to do it? And so she just tells you, like, okay, so if we cut corners here, here, and here, and then, because, we're a team, and then I'm like, hey, so I'll collect cans, and then I'll get my dad to take them over for us, and then we'll make some more money. And so that's what we've been doing for a very long time.
So you've always been an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And so she's always forced me to dream bigger. Like, I am, in this group, I am the person that's like, okay, so if we sell these many books, we can do all of that. And then Wilnona cuts the fat, and then we have, like, profit. Yay!
I'm very cheap. stupid cheap. That's how I know about $50 hotel rooms with 5 stars in
Yeah,
in England.
absolutely. Yeah. But you know what? That's how you. My goodness, though, you're getting to travel and do so many things that most people would die to do. I mean, they really would. You know, that's a dream for a lot of people to be able to go and do that. And I admire you already.
Oh, thank you.
So, yeah.
And I didn't even put on all my makeup today. Hey, that's pretty cool.
No, I wish everybody had your enthusiasm. I really do. I mean, that's what it takes to get out there in this business. You know, I'm an author as well, but I don't have the enthusiasm that you have. I hide behind the radio show. But it really, you know, I need to get that. I need to start learning. I'm going to have to learn from you. I'm going to be emailing you all the time.
Well, please do email us. We love emails. And I just want to say that my mom always said you could laugh or you could cry, but crying solves nothing.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
So you might as well.
Just
She's like,
laugh.
have your 5 minutes or go outside and scream, be frustrated, and then come back and figure out how you're going to make it work.
That's good advice. Very good
So
advice.
we laugh a lot about life, and sometimes things are like really crazy. Hence why we made the Misfit Guys, because we don't quite fit in anywhere. But it's our brand. This is what we do. And it worked for us. And just like it'll work for everyone out here listening, that when you expand your brand, make it an extension of you. Because if you're trying to fit into a mold that someone else created, you will never make it. I mean, you might make it, but you'll be miserable. So make it your own way.
And I think what you just said so key, because we've had people on we had Romae Capito on the show from Helsinki, and she talked about that. You have to be you. You have to be original. I can't be you. I don't have that much energy at all. But, you know, find that something that works for you. Be original. You have to be original. That's one thing. And both of you are definitely original. So, you know, and that's why it's working for you, because you're original. That's why you've got so many things going. I mean, it's really everything leads one into the other as well. It's not like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They all blend together somehow. So that's great.
And on that original thing, I remember one day, this is one of the reasons we also have the docuseries, because I was sitting there and I was like, book sales have dropped. We need to do something. What should we do? And we had that offer of the 6 episodes, and I was going to tell her no, but then I thought about the people say that if they love you, they'll buy stuff from you. It's about being yourself, being authentic and being original, and then they'll be like, I like you. So what were you saying again? And I was like, well, how do you tell everyone that? Oh, TV!
There you go.
And I was like, we have this opportunity, so yeah, I guess I'm going to go ahead and do this. And that, may I say, when we had this opportunity, we knew nothing about shooting anything. So
Yeah, so we were Googling, Googling, and then
Back
we
to the
went
Google.
deeper down into Google. And to speak to your point about if people like you, they will buy you. Just think about it. We've all went into a store and we were like, oh, we're not getting that. But there's a salesperson that is really
Ready to push that product, yeah.
Push it, or just a good salesperson, like, hey, how are you, blah, 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 and you're like having a conversation. And then all of a sudden you're saying, you know what, man, I understand. Everyone's trying to make money. Let me just buy the lead. Like, okay, so I don't have a lot of money, so let me buy this from you so you can make this commission because I want to help you.
Right.
Not like Macy's or wherever I was. I don't want to help them. I want to help you
Right.
to meet your sales goal. We've all done it.
We all do it
bought
all the time.
the Girl Scout cookies from that neighbor's girl because we like that neighbor's girl, and we were like, I don't even eat these cookies, but
I'll
I
buy
will
one.
Right.
from you because I like you. So you know yourself. There are people out there that are going to not even only like you, but love you. And they will buy your book. But in turn, you're going to love your fans back.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a
It has
good
to be
thing.
genuine. You really do have
Yeah.
to care. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, this is great. I mean, because I wondered what we were going to talk about when it came to brand expansion. Because I just did a show with someone on, you know, branding yourself. And that's what you've done. You've gone out there and branded yourself. You've created a brand around what you do. You know, you start off with one thing, then you expanded to this, and you expanded to that. That's why it's called brand expansion.
What do you call your brand?
It's the and I thought, ladies. So
well done, by the way.
I know.
Yeah,
Joyce
great
would have been
lead-in.
proud.
I really wanted to high five you, but it's not my show, so I can't.
You can high five as much
Okay,
as you
high
want. There you
five.
go. We will see that.
No, and that's okay because we do it all the time in our show. Actually, we'll try to be like, no, we're gonna fist bump because we high-fived enough.
I just want to say Joyce would have been proud of you.
Yes, yes.
I hope so.
Oh, it's called The And I Thought Ladies, and yes, there's a quick three-sentence story behind it.
Okay.
We originally were going to just be authors, and then one of our co-authors was like, I will not go to sit on a TV show if we're just authors. So we came up with The And I Thought Ladies in 24 hours.
Put together the website and everything.
Colors, everything was picked. How we were going to dress, this red ribbon that's in my hair right now, all of that. Figured all of it out, 24 hours. She showed up the next day for the radio interview, and she was like, well, did you fix the problem? We went, voila!
Oh.
And she went, how'd that happen? So now we're The And I Thought Ladies. She's not here anymore, but we are.
I was like, never underestimate the power of coffee in the internet.
So I should say that we have
We're
two
cutting
series.
your coffee off here, by the way.
That makes me sad. Well, I guess he means he's going to pull out the bourbon, so I'm
Well,
okay.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm saying this sincerely. I hope people are listening to the show when we're airing because you've given so much information that it boggles my mind. I can't even wrap my head around everything you've done. And you did this in 2.5 years. So if anyone's really trying to expand their brand, they need to listen to this show. And I am sincere when I say that because you really had some ingenious ideas on what you did. And what I love, the thing that you did the most was Google, because I am huge on the internet. I really love my research. And I think that's so important for people to understand. It's like, if you don't know how to do something or you're afraid to try something, just Google it. See what someone else has done. I even tell authors when they're out there trying to figure out where can I go to do a radio show because who will be interested in what I'm doing, or where can I get an interview for a local magazine. Google it. Go to another author. See what that author in the same genre has done. And there's nothing wrong with going to their website and saying, oh, they got a show here. I can contact this show, and maybe they'll put me on. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's what I advise everyone to do. So hats up. Thumbs up.
Thumbs
To
up.
the-
We love it.
Thumbs up.
Hats
hats
off,
off,
thumbs up.
thumbs up. Actually, I was thinking about
I didn't say I was a genius.
I thought you were coming out with a new trend. Just thumb your hat up. There you go. New brand for you.
We branded you already. Oh, thumb up.
All right, there we go. Listen, I'm so delighted, Tonya, that you brought them in today. I really am. This is fun. This is a lot of fun.
I just recognized what we did not do, what Bruce said we should have done, was, by the way, our website is andwethought.com, and we write the And I Thought series and the Misfit Guides. Okay, now we can continue on.
Okay,
We've
see?
done
We
the
were
same thing.
professional. High five.
You are going to be repeating this again by the end because I'm.
He
gonna
said to do
ask
it 3
him.
times.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah, and they say always find a way to sneak that in somehow. So anyway, when you're doing your show, where can we go?
You can go to www.andwethought.com. See? So professional. I put on my professional Jade.
Yes.
And just so you know, ladies, because this is truly, Tonya just called me yesterday and said, I have these young ladies that I met. Was it possible to do a show around them? I said, well, okay, we'll figure out a way. So I'm going to need you to send me all your information so we can put information about what you do and where you are on the internet on our website.
Sure. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It'll be definitely zany, though.
I expect nothing less.
And thank you for the leap of faith.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This has been great. So
Apparently, we're all leaping today
I know. Let's all do it.
and expand ourselves in the brand.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. So what have you learned? I'm just curious. What did you learn from them?
To not hold myself back.
Okay.
To not be the reason my doors are closing. Like it goes along with what you do is if you can dream it, you can do it, you can write it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know isn't a reason not to do it. It's a
Or
reason
I'm
to
afraid.
learn.
I think that's what holds me back sometimes when it comes to my writing is that and it's weird that we're talking about this. I have no problem talking to you on the radio, but when it comes to my book, and Tonya, you know that because you had me at one of your events where I had to do a reading.
You were wonderful.
Terrified when it comes to that. And then she took me to a play, and they picked me to play a part in in this live production. I mean, it's like
I didn't know that was going to
Tonya.
happen.
I don't know about hanging out with you anymore.
So when you hang out with Tonya, you're gonna need to carry our flask, the one that says, "And I thought being grown up was easy," and put some bourbon in that bad boy. You'll feel
Or
so much better.
and or gin or whatever you drink. I don't really like gin, but you do what you do.
But it is all about. You have to take those steps. You can't be afraid to go out there and say something or do something. And I admit I am, and I've got to get past that. And at my age, that's a lot to get past, but I can do it. And you guys are an inspiration for me to do it, by the way. You really are. It's kind of like most people who are successful, especially when it comes to the TV industry or the movie industry, actors are not afraid to humiliate themselves if they have to. They are going to go out there and do whatever it takes to let the people know who they are. And actually, if you think about it, they're not humiliating themselves. They're entertaining. And that's what we want, is entertainment. And that's what you two have discovered. I've figured this out already. You figured out how to entertain. And even as authors, that's what we do. We go out there and we entertain. When we're out there doing book signings, I mean, you can be a Sidney Sheldon, and I've met him, and he before he passed, and he sat there and he just signed books. But he had a name already. He was a huge author, and he'd been in TV and movies, and he'd done a lot of things. He'd written a lot of different things. But when you don't have that brand, you have to create the brand. And that's what you're doing. You're out there creating your persona.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean that we're not afraid. We are. Sometimes we are very afraid.
She is our fear.
I am. Jade is the fear.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I can't believe Wilnona is afraid of anything.
I'm just starting to learn about the fear again.
No.
Don't.
So I'm afraid. I'm like, oh, should we do this? And Wilnona looks at me, and we look at each other, and we're like, at the end of the day, we are who we are. We are going to do what we do. And if it falls horribly, it doesn't mean that it was us. It just means, okay, it was a bad thing, and we'll try it again. Because at the end of the day, if you can smile at yourself in the mirror, it doesn't really matter what the opinions are. I went out there, I did it, pat yourself on the back, and be like, yes, victory.
Yeah.
I learned when I was younger and I was married, and I was in a severely emotionally abusive relationship, but I had made all the decisions I had made that got me to walk down that aisle because I was afraid of disappointment. I was afraid that it wouldn't go right. I was afraid of failure. So I remember about 6 months in, and I was like, if I ever get out of this relationship, unless it's fear for the law or occasionally the higher being up there, there you go. Anything else, I'm open to try. Because what's the worst going to happen?
She says it all the time. The worst is going to happen. They're going to say no. Or they're going to say no, or I didn't like it. And so what? You still did it.
Someone
they still
else
let you
is gonna
did
like
it. Do it.
But you know what? You took that experience and you turned it into a positive. And I think that's what so many people don't learn in life, is that we all have negatives in our lives. We all have, things that are downtrodden that happen in our lives. And you need to learn to take all those things and say, okay, this happened, but I'm going to make this a positive. I'm going to turn this into something good and go with it. And that sounds exactly like what you did. You gave after 6 months, you said, I got to get out of this. I got to figure out a better way of going through life, and this is not the journey I want to take. And that's what life is about. It's a journey. But I like the journey. But I like the journey you two are on.
That was our original tagline. Find your journey.
I want to ride on your coattails.
Absolutely. Come on down. And
I don't care that I'm old enough to be your father, your grandfather.
It's okay. Absolutely. I'm not saying that you are old, but if you're old enough.
Oh, yeah, you just did.
No, but if you're old enough that you can get me discount coffee, you are definitely in the fold.
Oh, yeah. Right. I think the funniest thing that happened, speaking of that, is I went into a McDonald's, and a young lady who was probably about 16, she had just her first job, and I remember walking up, and she said, I said I'd like a cup of coffee, and she said, that's the senior coffee, right, sir?
Absolutely.
Because occasionally I have a gray wig at home, and sometimes I'm like, can I put that on to get coffee?
Well, and the twist to that was, like, yeah, I want my discount.
Yep.
Absolutely. Now I was only going to get 1 cup of coffee. Now I can afford 2. Thank you very much, youngster.
Well, ladies, we're running out of time, so we're down to the last few minutes of the show. So I'd like to thank the And I Thought ladies. Wilnona, where can we find out more about your work?
You can find more about my work on Amazon. I'm going to take Amazon Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm gonna leave you the good stuff.
Okay.
And I write the Widow's Debt series, and my audiobook will be coming out soon. So if you just want to know about me, there you go.
All right. What about Jada? Or Jade?
It's okay, Jade, everyone. It doesn't matter. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Okay. All right.
Right. And you can find out everything that your ladies are doing on www.andwethought.com.
Ah.
I put on my podcasting
what
voice
were
for
you gonna
that.
add to that?
Because she always does this. And you can find Just Writin', WRITIN Life on Amazon.com. Just search Just Writin' Life on video on the demand or Prime Video, and you can watch our TV show.
Oh,
said
absolutely.
everything.
Yeah. And the magazine?
Everything's
Everything.
on andwethought.com.
As
Oh,
I
yeah.
said,
Oh, and we thought.
everything that your ladies are doing on andwethought.com, including Just Writing Life.
Now, did we
Wilnona.
get this in 3 times now?
Yes, yeah, I think we did.
5 times? Okay.
Yay, Bruce is going to be
All
proud.
right. And Tonya, where can we learn more about you?
I will say it one time.
You should say it 3.
Then will Candyman appear? MsTonyaTodd.com. That's MsTONYA.
All right. Well, I'd like to encourage all of our listeners to write to us. Let us know what you think or what you'd like for us to discuss on the show. If you're an author, whether you're a newbie or an experienced, that does not matter. We like to interview anyone and everyone, whether you're in New York, London, Helsinki, it does not matter. I would like to thank our guest, and our guests are And I Thought ladies, which is Wilnona Marie and Jade D, along with my co-host Tonya Todd. To find out more about our guests, just go to the website aspectsofwriting.com and you'll find links there. Did I miss something there?
No.
Okay. I was wondering about how is this going to end. You can also find our show. We are syndicated on iHeartRadio, iTunes, AMFM247.com. We're on AMFM247.com live on Saturdays at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And we're also on Roku TV. You can find us on YouTube. We have 14 terrestrial stations. Just go to the aspectsofwriting.com website. Have I said it twice now or 3 times?
We love it.
All right, good. And you can learn more about us. We're also on Blog Talk Radio at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Sundays. And we archive all the shows on aspectsofwriting.com. So just go to aspectsofwriting.com to learn more. Ladies, thank you so much for being on the show. Until next week, this is your host, James Kelly, reminding you, if you can dream it, you can write it. Thank you again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
They came to our world seeking new resources. Both Earth and Mars were lush with plant life and mineral deposits. Unlike Mars, however, Earth was alive with a vast array of creatures, not unlike their past world, the one where they had evolved nearly 2 million years ago. It took them over 20,000 years to reach our solar system, and another 20,000 to return home and report their findings. To their dismay, all that remained of their civilization was decaying cities and wandering souls. It would take another 20,000 years to reach Earth with the intent of creating a new oasis. During their time in space, they lost the ability to breathe. Now they had a new mission, not only to settle Earth, but also to create a new life form to house their souls. By the time they had reached our world, only one man's seeds remained for creating a new life form on Earth. From the fruit of his loin, new man was created. In time, it was hoped that one of the species from the various primates they artificially inseminated would evolve to look like them. Theirs was a waiting game. To enter the Earth's atmosphere for a prolonged period of time would cause them to age and die before the transformation from primate to new man was complete. They needed new men to populate the Earth with shells for their souls, but time was running out. Could they intervene and create a new life form from Earth's primates in time to save their souls? And more importantly, are we at that stage in our history now? Perhaps they already walk among us. The answers lie with Daniel's story of abduction as leaked to the press, the alien transcripts.